So cheesecake, polarizing dessert, right? You either love it or you hate it, right? There's no middle ground on cheesecake. You're either all in or you're all out. I actually happened to be all out for the majority of my life until I moved to New York, living with my wife and one of our children, and eventually our other child. We used to go to a place called Junior's. It's a famous Brooklyn place, been there for generations, like many of my favorite places, and they're famous for cheesecake. I gained an appreciation for the idea and for the recipe of cheesecake that actually made cheesecake taste better to me. Now that I was a newly converted cheesecake fan, how can I figure out a way to do something similar to Junior's without being plagiaristic, but also being complimentary? And that's how we came up with the idea for Senior's Cheesecake. Food is much more than just ingredients, recipe, and process. It's also time and place. You know, and my one for my children isn't necessarily to be a chef, but it's to understand, you know, food and cooking food and hospitality. And maybe that'll lead to a hospitality career, or maybe that'll lead, like my mother and my grandmother, to just having a great dining room table that people want to be around. You know, a lot of times the way to ensure the best experience is the most expensive. And what we do is we choose to support purveyors all around us, even at cost to ourselves. Smith's has a phenomenal tradition of 60 miles or less for the majority of their milks, especially the traditional, conventional, and the organic goes a little bit further. So when you think about the dairy and the food industry, the easiest and cheapest thing to do is grow it somewhere else, ship it all in a gigantic batch to somewhere else, turn it into something, and then ship it to the consumer. But if you can consolidate everything to be within, you know, a stone's throw of where you're making it, that's how you really ensure quality, but it's also how you pour dollars back into your community. You know, the most exciting thing that I find about being a chef is seeing farmers grow from 1 employee to 2 employees to 30 employees in a truck. You know, like that's when you know you're really affecting the people around you. And if you talk about 110 years of tradition of supporting people in their backyard, I mean, that's pretty hard to beat, right? You know, 110 years of giving money to your neighbors to consolidate this milk and turn it into so much more than it was when it was on your farm. But it's our farm now. This is dairy on dairy on dairy. I mean, this is a celebration of lactic love, of milk and ricotta cheese and cream and everything in its most perfect and pure form.